everyone. Welcome back to Monday Positivity. Joining us today from the beautiful Gold Coast of Australia is Natasha Black, a quantum healer, guide, mentor, channeler, and eternal student of the universe. Natasha's journey began at the tender age of 7 when a near death experience dramatically altered the course of her life. Raised in a Christian household, her encounter with God consciousness during this NDE led her to question the teachings she had grown up with. This moment sparked a lifelong quest for deeper truth, leading her to explore ancient knowledge, wisdom, and her cosmic roots as a star seed. Today, she works closely with her spirit guides, offering a range of services including healings, readings, and mentorship through her website. And you can find the link to her website in the description box below this episode. And her mission is to help humanity evolve by connecting us with our infinite potential and the power within. She is passionate about topics such as love, the cosmic origins of humanity, and integrating ancient wisdom into the modern world. And in this episode, she shares her insights on how to strengthen intuition, understand the language of the universe, and channel authentic love in our daily lives. Prepare to be inspired as we delve into the mysteries of existence and the profound wisdom she has to offer. So, without further ado, let's dive right in. So first of all, I've also listened to your podcast, and you talk about your near-death experience, and I think you've had it at such a young age. So I first wanted to dive into your personal journey. Like, how did it influence your understanding of God consciousness? What impact did it have on you?
Yeah, so the impact it had on me was it made me question everything that I was brought up to believe. And I'm grateful for the seeds that were planted in how I was brought up, so with Christian upbringing. But there was some missing gaps for me to fully have faith in what was being taught. And so, yeah, after this experience, it really made me come out of it with just so many questions of, yeah, just so many profound questions about who God is, who Source is. One example is if we're talking about unconditional love, then why are we placing judgment here? Why does God do this? Like, what's the connection here? I'm not really understanding what this is. So, and because I experienced that unconditional loving space, I was thinking, well, it doesn't really make sense to kind of have all these judgments and this place that we go to if we don't believe or follow certain rules. So yeah, it was just questions like that that really made me wake up and just ask a lot of questions. But of course, I didn't have the full answers to that until I was going on later in my life because I was only 7 years old. So
Right. And would you also like to talk about what this experience was? Because I know, but for our listeners and viewers.
yeah. So when I was 7 years old, I was in my cousin's place and I had an asthma attack. And I forgot to bring my asthma puffer on the day. And so did my parents. It was just an oversight, obviously, of all of us. I was quite responsible at that age to make sure that I had it with me everywhere. It was just that day, I just forgot. And one thing led to another. We were searching my cousin's house to see if they had a puffer. No one had asthma in that family, but we thought, oh, maybe someone has one somewhere. And so at this time, I remember, I was starting to panic with the breathing and it was becoming more labor intensive. And then there was discussions going on with my cousin's parents and my parents about, okay, what's the next step? Do we call an ambulance? Uh, do we have time for the ambulance to arrive? You know, what's the best scenario? So the hospital was about half an hour away from their house. And my uncle ended up driving first and showing us the way to the hospital. So I was in the car with my dad and he led the way and he said, "Follow me. I'll take you to the hospital. We'll just go straight there. We might get there quicker than maybe if you call an ambulance and sometimes they take time. It just depends on the day." And so I think they didn't want to risk it. I'm going to have to ask them that question. But so we're on the way and I remember feeling, okay, like this is, I'm very tired. My chest is very sore. And I used to get sore on my back as well. It was just the tight, heavy feeling of trying to breathe for so long. And then I remember saying to my dad in the car, "I just want to go put my head down to sleep. I feel really sleepy." And he was saying, "No, no, no, stay awake, stay awake." So he's trying to keep me awake. And then I remember at one point it was just too much. I just couldn't do it anymore. And I just felt tired. And I just said to him, "No, I really need to put my head down to sleep. I'm just really tired." And I remember at this point, he was yelling at the top of his voice, like, "Stay awake, stay awake." He's calling my name, but I could only hear his name from a distance. It wasn't close. If someone was yelling that much in your ear, it would hurt your eardrums, but it was very distant. So obviously I'd already started leaving my body.
Mm-hmm.
And so then that was the last thing that I remember. And he said he looked over and my eyes rolled back and I was foaming at the mouth. And so he swerved, he made a decision and he swerved and pulled up at this correctional facility or detention center and went to the gates and screamed out and said, "Does anybody know CPR?" And so one of the inmates, he did know CPR and he was allowed to do that while they called an ambulance with supervision, of course. So he kept me alive until the ambulance arrived. And then once I got in the ambulance, they, did the defib all the way to the hospital. So trying to keep me alive again. And so then the next thing was I remember being in the hospital room, the operating theatre, and I was above my body. So I was watching down on my body, seeing them all operating, trying to use the defib. There was panic going on in the room, but it was just like I was watching a movie. So I knew it was me, but I wasn't attached to what was going on. I wasn't attached to the emotion, but I could feel all the emotion and the panic in the room.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, they were working on my body. And then I did remember floating outside that room into the hallway. And at this stage, one of the doctors had spoken to my dad in the hallway and said, "We don't think she's going to make it. Yeah, we're not having much success. We don't think she's going to make it." And so that was that part of the experience. And then for me, what I had experienced as well was when I was walking down the tunnel that people talk about. It was actually, the vision I saw was when it was in my cousin's backyard and I was walking down this tunnel and the path was lined with like demons or demonic entities. I don't really know what they were. And they were all trying to grab at me as I was walking down this tunnel. And I managed to like escape on the way through. And then the more I walked down the path, they were further away. And so then at that stage, the tunnel that I could see was becoming brighter and bigger. And then I just remember going through the tunnel of light And all of a sudden, I'm in this space of just pure unconditional love and this white light space that just felt so warm and it just felt like home. And I remember feeling like, wow, I do not want to leave here. This is amazing. Why would anyone want to go back to that? You know, it's beautiful here. It just feels like I'm home. So yeah, I remember being in this, I just saw 144, that's my number, been seeing it for a few years. And so I then, as I was saying, oh, I don't want to leave here. This is amazing. I remember hearing these beings telepathically communicating to me saying, no, you can't leave yet. This is not your time to go. And I was saying, but I don't want to go back. Like, this is amazing. Let me stay here. This is beautiful. And so they said, no, you have a mission on Earth. You have a lot of work to do. You're going to help a lot of people. And from that moment, I remember thinking, there was no pushback from me. I remember thinking, okay, if I know that I have a mission, I'm going to help a lot of people and I have a purpose, then okay, I'm happy to go back. And I was very happy to then. So, but I still remember at that point that I had a choice. If I really wanted to, I still could have had a choice and said, no, I really don't want to. So that was it. And then I remember coming, but I don't remember the feeling of coming back to my body. But I do remember sitting in the hospital bed for a few days where the doctors are running tests and they're trying to talk to me. And I could see everyone around me, but I just couldn't respond. So they were saying to my dad, "Oh, I think she's going to have brain damage. I don't think she's going to come out of this. I think we lost her for a little bit too long and the oxygen, not enough oxygen to the brain." And so, yeah, after about 3 days, I came out of it, and that was that. And then another part of that was I told my dad the exact conversation that he had with the doctor in the hallway. And he's a skeptic. And he said, I do not know how you could have known that. There's no way that you could have known that. So he said, that's incredible. I don't know how to explain that, but wow. So yeah, that's in a nutshell, that's my story.
Right. But wow. And speaking of your purpose on Earth, right? I'm also, reading about star seed origins.
Mm.
And star seeds, what I have read is like they are from different, star systems, and usually they have a purpose on Earth. The topic is very fascinating, but also misunderstood by many. So I would, could you also talk about that, like what it means to be a star seed? And how
Mm.
can one might, uncover their starseed origins?
Yeah, awesome. So I love this topic too, and I do believe it's misunderstood. And I think also it is over spiritualized. I think that we are all actually not really from here. I think we all have origins elsewhere. And the people that may call themselves star seeds is just the people that have remembered who they are or what part of their origin is. I believe that just like we come from different countries, we come from different systems. And sometimes it's a multitude, sometimes it's just a few. And we have, on our soul mission, we have joined certain systems to learn different things, which we bring here to Earth to help remember and get our way out of this matrix puzzle. So, the way that I discovered this, and I have come from a bit of a path of questioning everything. So even if something resonates with me, I will still question it and still want to make sure that I cross-reference it with other information because, it's hard. It's hard being in this world where you're kind of double questioning yourself and the experiences that you've had. And is this real? Is it not? Am I crazy? What's going on? So something I say to people that really hold podcasts like yourself is thank you for doing what you're doing and sharing these messages and having people like me on, because someone else might hear my story and go, oh, that validates a part of my story that I need to uncover. So thank you for doing what you do. I always really like to make a point of thanking the host for that, because it is a very important part of this awakening journey. So yeah, the way that I started was, I have to think, someone placed a book in front of me. I think it was Lemuria and Atlantis.
Sure.
And at the same time, I was exploring ancient Aboriginal, Indigenous Australian culture and folklore, going into their stories and their culture. As I was reading about both of these things, getting books on them, watching YouTube accounts and all of that, at the same time, I was coming across information that was linking. So a lot of the information that was linking was information about the Pleiades. And then I got myself a starseed deck. So this one, which I still love to this day, choosing cards. And, you know, something that is important for us to know on this journey of awakening is to notice and interact with the universe. So the world around you, listening to songs, noticing little things that helps confirm and speak to you. So we're in this universe where the language of the universe is to notice these signs. So it's tiny little things like that that just help you put the pieces of the puzzle together. So just more and more, I just came up with these synchronicities and I was like, oh my God, this is just too much now. You know, I was seeing Pleiadians everywhere, like as in the word, things were coming across my path and I just, yeah. So then I did a hypno session. And because I've had a contact experience as well, so some might call it an abduction, and I had a feeling that those two situations were linked. And so I went and had a hypno session, and sure enough, they are linked. And sure enough, the link was to link back to my star family in the Pleiades. And they just, more than any other star system, that one just really, I felt in the heart. There was things, books that I read, the messages were just really resonating with me. Some of the things that I was doing in my healing sessions was some of the things I was reading in the books. There was just so many things like this and information that I was downloading myself that was confirmed in these books and ancient texts. And I was like, okay, this is too much to ignore. So yeah, it was just by putting pieces of the puzzle together like that. So I think if someone resonates with information, that's one of your first clues, is to really go in and look at that information and see what you can find about it and run it. I always talk about running it through your system, your intuitive system, your heart, your body, and see how it feels for you. If it feels like a yes, you know, then go forward and keep discovering on that journey. It's really fun.
Right. And like you said, I think paying attention to the signs of the universe, because I remember sometimes, if even if I have a question and I'll just listen to a song and somehow, the answer would be in that song only. So
Yeah.
that's interesting. And interestingly, like my next question is about intuition, because I think in today's fast-paced world, like, we are bombarded with all sorts of information. So it's really hard to understand whether it's, our critical mind or our
Mhm.
intuition.
Mhm.
So how do we navigate, those? How do we know if it's our intuition, and how can we strengthen our intuition?
So important right now, this question and this. learning for humanity to deepen their intuition and discernment is extremely important right now, because we are in an we're in an age of information, and there is information that comes to you from all angles. So we have to be very careful, whether it's mainstream news, alternative news, this channel, that channel, whatever information you are taking in. Like I said just before, run it through your own system. Check, even if you're a beginner, check, how does it feel in my body? How does it feel in my heart? Really start tuning into the body and your own internal GPS, so your own intuition, to see how it feels for you. Because there's a lot of information out there with arguments that sound very credible, and information that I don't personally believe. But when I hear it, I think I can understand why people would believe that, because it sounds plausible. So we're all on this path to really navigate what truth is. And yeah, I just think it's really important for us to run it through our system. The best way to really start and to hone in is, you would have heard it a million times, is meditation. It's meditation and solitude and managing your input. So your mental input, taking time away, reducing noise. So I've just been on another level of this lately, where I'm reducing things coming in my email inbox. I'm reducing subscriptions. I'm taking myself off certain social media platforms. I'm reducing more noise. As the world gets more noisy, I cut back and reduce. I'm having more time to myself, more time for solitude, more time to read the books that I want to finish. And just by quieting down and just, really taking time out to enjoy life's pleasures,
Right.
actually, like nature and creativity. Like, these things are all so important to build our intuition. So I love nature. I'll be in nature as often as I can. And that naturally just helps you ground and to come back to who you are as well. So yeah, but meditation is important. It should be like brushing our teeth. It's very important practice for our discernment and our intuition, and getting to know the self truly.
Yeah. And I'm actually gonna, I'm gonna paste that statement, like you said. Meditation should be like, brushing our teeth. Because sometimes I try to meditate every day, but sometimes if like the work schedule is hectic, I'll, miss it. But yes, I think that statement will remind me to somehow, find time for that.
Yeah.
Uh, and while like I've also seen like, while strengthening our intuition and all, the concept of spirit guides that came across a lot. And I also started, seeing a lot of names also. And then I Googled them and somehow it made sense, like why I was seeing those names all the time. And one
Yeah.
of the names I even heard while meditating also. So I wanted to like ask you that, because you also, work with guides. So what
Mhm.
is like your experience, and what is their message for, like, if we talk about like our collective evolution, what is their
Mhm.
message, for humanity?
Mm. Yeah. So guides, I've had many on my path and they change. I usually have a staple group, which is my Pleiadian star family. There's a collective of them that I tune into most regularly, but I tune in and channel different guides at different times. And it depends what the message is sometimes. Like, someone that's very present at the moment is Goddess Isis. And she's really talking to us about sovereignty and knowing our true power within. And so generally they are all saying the same kinds of things. It's coming back to the heart, leaning into compassion, uh, knowing the self, removing distractions, because something that I channeled just the other day was about information again, and just people just getting distracted with the world news, with the politics, with this and that and the other. There's so many distractions that people are saying, pay attention here, pay attention here. It's everywhere except for within. So most of them actually are sharing the same message about coming back to who you are and really, really knowing and understanding what our human potential is. We are all intuitive. We are all psychic. We're all channelers. We're all healers. We can all levitate. We can all speak to each other telepathically, and this is where we're heading. But we have to know and believe that and understand what we're actually capable of first to be able to move forward in those directions. So, yeah, I know that's very general, but it's mostly about that, and just really a lot of it is around the heart. So I do get a lot of messages from Mary Magdalene and Mother Mary as well. And it's around the heart. It's all about this. So they call it the heart portal. From this heart space, we tune into the same vibration as the universe. We
Mhm.
can manifest, we can heal, we can create change and do incredible things just from tuning into the heart. So every day I do, how you do body scans with your meditations. I also run through the heart and notice, is there any blockages there? Is there anyone that I'm judging? Is there any situations that I have to let go of in others or myself? And so this is a part of my daily practice, is to scan through the heart and just keep the heart open at all times. So I know that this just really helps me, and I feel like I can access more heightened information for myself and the collective when I keep this heart space open. It's, the results speak for themselves, I guess, but I understand some of what Jesus was talking about in the Bible with the heart. Some of the things have become more clear to me now, and I've thought, oh, that's what he meant, about,
Right.
yeah, all of these things. So,
Right. And I think that's a very powerful practice. Like you said, body scan, yes, we know, but heart scanning, I think that is needed, every day just to see if we are judging somebody or okay.
yeah.
And so, again, like I listened to your heart centered living episode on your podcast, and I loved it. Uh,
Oh, thank
yeah, and so that's why I wanted to ask you, like in the podcast also you talk about uh how can we cultivate a deeper and authentic experience of love in our daily lives? Because I talk about self-love also a lot on this podcast. So how do you think, we can cultivate a more authentic experience of love?
I think first it's just, you really have to love yourself. You really have to go within and heal the parts of yourself that you don't love. You have to really go to work there, and everything starts from within. We can't extend that love to the outside world as effectively if we can't do that for ourselves first. And that is enough. It doesn't matter if you are a healer on stage, or it doesn't matter what your mission is, or if you have a career in healing. You healing the heart will radiate and create more ripples than even you will realize. You will affect the person that you come in contact with at the supermarket, in the traffic, wherever it is in your world, you are touching people. So yeah, it's you have to really self-heal in a deep way, and it takes a lot of courage to do that.
Mhm.
but no one needs to know. And I think, yeah, it's practicing the art of not judging the self as much. You know, I always say now we're done with that. We don't need to judge ourselves anymore. Like, let's be done with that. That's something of the old world. Let's just forget it. We've all got flaws. We've all got things we're not proud of. So let's just leave that alone and we can work towards healing now. But yeah, I think just doing that, doing the heart scan, diving into your passions and things that really light you up,
Mhm.
has really been what's effective for me in cultivating that deep space.
Right.
One more thing.
Mhm.
Perception. Perception, when I read A Course in Miracles, that helped me so much with the way that I see the world around me. It helped me heal from situations and things that had happened in my life and to see things differently. And I read it somewhere and they said perception is the mother of all healing. And it is. If we change our perception, we change the way that we view it, which means we can heal it a lot quicker. And it's not a story or a drama in our life anymore. So I just wanted to mention that because that was a very important part in my own healing journey.
Right. Yeah. And I'm just, loving talking to you because I think it's becoming a therapy session for me.
Oh,
Because I'm actually getting, a lot of answers that I had. I mean, like I had a lot of questions in my mind, but
yeah.
yes, I mean, okay. And I
Mhm.
also wanted to talk about quantum healing because you also mentioned you are a quantum healer, and I think the concept again is misunderstood. So for
Mhm.
those of my listeners or viewers who have like no idea about quantum healing, could you explain
Mhm.
like what it is?
So if you're familiar with the concept that everything is energy,
Mhm.
then we just work from that space. So knowing and understanding that everything is energy, I can really work on healing you on this Zoom session, you know. It's the way that I use it is understanding that, you know, and if anyone's familiar with quantum physics, it's one particle here affects the particle right over there. So it
Mhm.
actually doesn't, we're not limited to location. And so quantum healing, the basis of it works from that level. But the way that I do it is I take people through visualization to actually heal themselves. And I want people to understand that they can heal themselves. It's energy shifting. That's all we're doing. We're energy shifting. We're accessing information through energy. So the visualizations that I take people through helps access information. It helps unlock DNA that's dormant and really allows us to access abilities that we forgot about and to heal things effectively in the physical form, because whatever energy is stuck and not moving through will be manifest physically in the body. So we just go through a process of talking to the energy through the body.
Mhm.
Talking, say for example, if it's the liver, we talk to the liver. We're commanding things to happen because, as you may know, what we speak, we create. So speaking the words, affirming these things in these sessions is changing things in real time. And there have been so many studies on this, but this is how I run my sessions and probably others too. I don't really know what others do. I'm guided to heal the way that I've been shown by my guides. So
Mhm.
yeah, that's how I know these techniques. It's just because it's been shown to me.
Okay. And since we have 4 minutes, I don't know why always like whenever I check time, like for other podcasts also, it always, we are left with 4 minutes. So I had another question as well, but before that, let's like if somebody wants to connect with you, what can they expect? What are your services? And I'll put the link to all your, like website and socials in the description box. But still, like, what can they expect? Yeah.
Thank you. So I do Akashic soul readings, so helping you access past memories to unlock gifts that you want to bring through and use in this incarnation. Quantum healing sessions. I do mentorship, so one-on-one guidance sessions. And then I run events here too. But, I have a YouTube channel that people can look at for free. And if they want to contact me, they can go through my website or my email.
Right, yeah. And I listened to your latest video also about energy update. Like, we
Oh,
are
yeah.
curious about, different things. So this topic has always, like it piqued my curiosity.
Mm.
What I really, like enjoyed talking to you. So what will be your final, like your message to anybody who is maybe, looking into spirituality? Because I've seen like myself also, people face a lot of, challenges on their spiritual journey. So what will be your advice for someone?
Oh, yes. Okay. It's hard to, yeah. Okay. So go to work in knowing the self. Go to work in knowing what it is within you that you can heal on your own. What is your human potential and capability? If you're listening to gurus, scan it through your system as well. This is part of understanding the self and knowing actually, if you scan it through the self, you'll understand how your body and your intuition speaks to you as well. So this is a good practice. But taking a bit from here, a bit from there, not putting people on pedestals, because when we do that, we're actually losing our own sovereignty a little bit. So things like that, just keeping that in mind, but really go to work in understanding what you already have within you. So that's probably the most powerful thing I can share that I have gained from my journey also.
Mhm. Yeah, I think that's a beautiful advice. Yeah, but I'm truly grateful for you for making time for this episode.
Mm.
And yes, and I think yeah, it was meant to happen because
Yeah.
a lot of my questions have been answered.
Thank you for
Yeah,
having me.
yeah. Thank you for making time for this.